Well, hello there. My name is Dave Bila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views, broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, and national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of those making the comments and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of this program or its co-producers. We've got our wandering boy back, so now we're co-producers. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled.
Wait a minute. We've got our guy here playing Royal Kingdom, and
he's playing. He's not even with us. He's not back yet? This must be a mirage.
His mind is not back. He's playing Royal Kingdom on it.
I'm looking at a new stormwater feed, though.
Get ahead now.
Get ready. Keep going.
We will adhere to broadcast rules, but no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry Coley or Schmo is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the program, the discussion, and the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, today, what is today, the 19th or 20th?
Summer solstice.
Yesterday, I cased the joint. And that joint that I'm talking about is the new 5-story parking garage at the South Shore Station. Of course, I was only able to get up 4 stories, but how neat that parking garage. It smells like fresh laid cement. When you walk in there, you get, if you in a construction trade, you can smell that odor of fresh laid cement. And I was able to traverse first floor, second floor, third floor, up to the 4th floor. Couldn't make it to the 5th. But the view of the lakefront from the 4th floor, looking north on towards Lake Michigan, is a fantastic view for our future fireworks. So what I hope is that parking garage will be available for residents of Michigan City to stand there and watch the beautiful skyline of Michigan City during its fireworks. 2 programs ago, ladies and gentlemen, I talked about a program answering the call, MAC, M-A-A-C Foundation. And I said I will provide phone numbers for this organization in Porter County. It's the Director of Marketing and Communication. His name is Pete Krivas, Krivas, and his phone number is area code 219-510-9111. And just to give you an update, then they graduated 18 kids with no tuition whatsoever. They graduated 18 kids from this foundation under the banner of Medical Emergency Technician. And just recently, they graduated 40 volunteer fire academic students from this organization. And in looking at these 40 kids that graduated from the fire academy, looking at the list of 40, there was not one LaPorte County resident on that list. And yet it's an opportunity for these kids, young adults, high school seniors, or even a few years later, to get their foot in the door into a opportunity for future jobs. Medical technicians, aren't they in dire need, medical technicians?
Yes.
And this
all kinds of medical technicians.
Everyone's in dire need.
Yes.
I'm sorry to tell you.
And that's learning, as I said 2 weeks ago, learning how to drive an ambulance and learning basic training. I took first aid training many years ago through the Red Cross, but this is more sophisticated than that. It's a free service for residents of there's even an individual from Rensselaer in the fire academy. He was from well, anyway, he was from Rensselaer. I can't pronounce his last name. So anyway, this is available. Grandparents, tell your kids to tell your grandkids to inform them if they're interested in the fire profession or the medical technician profession. There's a school that is free of charge in Valparaiso that you can get a hold of, and it's at MAAC Foundation, Training to Protect Lives, Yours, Theirs, and Ours.
Well, I have a suggestion now. If that comes out again, because I think we've got a communications problem. You probably ought to get the flyer. Well, he's blaming it on a communications problem.
It's a
You
lot.
probably ought to get the flyer and from them,
And not saying here. I mean,
put it up at Ivy Tech. Get 3 or 4 of them, put them up on the bulletin boards at Ivy Tech. You got to get permission to do that. Then I would also see if you can get permission to put them up in the high school on some of the bulletin boards.
I would
'Cause I
send
got
it
a
to
feeling-
to the mayors of Michigan City and LaPorte, and the county commissioner said put it on the website.
Yeah, that's true too.
Hey, this guy, this Pete character here, he took the time.
Oh yeah.
He took the time to send it to me.
Well, do that.
And I said, I will promote it.
Yeah.
Okay? I promote it to our viewing audience. If the powers to be within this community doesn't see any merit in
It's not that they don't see merit, it's that they never knew about it.
You got an email, right? We'll just forward it to the mayor of Michigan City and the city of LaPorte and the commissioners and say, thought you might want to know.
I have a hard enough time running a print off of my email to come up with this information, let alone email.
Just have your wife do it.
How
She
can I?
knows how.
No, she yells at me. She yells at me. You don't know it yet? And again, another thing I want to bring up.
Well, forward it to me and I'll forward it to them. I don't care.
Well, I think I did it once to you.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll forward.
I'll see what I could do. But doesn't it make sense?
It's pretty cool.
No, it does
That's
make
a whole
lot of
career,
sense.
good pay, good earnings, benefits,
All right,
retirement.
Dave, it makes a lot of sense, but the problem is we got to get it to the people that need to know it. And that's coming out of Ivy Tech, that's coming out of the high schools.
High schools.
Yeah, those are the people that got it. We got to get it on the bulletin.
Well, why am I so privileged of being having this information? A nobody being privileged to have this information, and yet you've got individuals in county and you've got individuals in government that deal with millions of dollars. Oh, speaking of millions of dollars, kicking a can,
Pretty soon you talk about real money.
Yeah.
kicking a can down the road. The You Are Beautiful property. Aha! They've got an extension up until December to obtain financing.
Oh.
Kicking a can down the road. How long are we going to kick that can down the road? Last but not least,
Wait, wasn't there?
Well, until we get something else.
Didn't I see an
There's a
article
usage for
that
it.
the "You Are Beautiful" sign was going to cost us tens of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to move?
Redevelopment Commission appropriated $26,000
To move it.
to move the
And we
sign.
paid $30,000 for it.
Yeah, the park department, the park department authorized the location across the street from the skate park on Highway 12 as the new location for You Are Beautiful.
Well, that's a high profile.
Dave, I have another suggestion. See, if you can go into the tax assessor's office. And see
who?
if the tax assessor's.
I'll be going there
You can do this. See if the people are paying the taxes on the You Are Beautiful property, which is going to be pretty significant. Now, as long as they're paying the taxes, they can move that thing down the road for the next 10 years, but make sure they're paying the taxes.
Hey, there are more important things to talk about than a property that's been set dormant for how many years?
Hey, as
40.
long as they're paying taxes, it's not doing.
I beg to differ whether the taxes are being paid
They
on
don't
that
even
property.
own-
Because
they
that
don't
property,
even own it.
that property is under the jurisdiction of Redevelopment Commission.
They don't even own it yet.
They don't even
I
own it.
just
They don't
checked.
own it, then they're not paying taxes.
They don't even own it.
Okay, last but not least, I attended
We're still losing it.
the Juneteenth concert, municipal band concert yesterday at Bicentennial Amphitheater, and Naomi Anderson's program. It really, the young lady who vocalized really she really emphasized words in her presentation. I mean, it was really straight to the heart comments, and I applaud her for her efforts. Municipal Band, the fourth concert will be coming up on, this will be the 26th of June. And one other freebie that I want to talk to you about, and then I'm going to hang up my bootstraps because I've got nothing to talk about other than freebies, is on July the 20th. July the 20th, it's a free Sunday Fun Day concert at Friendship Gardens. And you know who is going to be playing at that free concert? The LaPorte Symphony. The LaPorte Symphony is bringing their combined orchestra talent through Northwest Indiana to Friendship Gardens free of charge. And I think everybody who enjoys music could attend that function in Friendship Gardens. That's on the 20th of July. I also just received this email from the LaPorte County Symphony Orchestra. LCSO presents a free concert, Friendship Botanical Gardens, Sunday, July 20th. So I'll be promoting it on behalf of the LaPorte Symphonic Orchestra. Not on behalf of certain individuals, but I'll promote the program on behalf of the entire orchestra. Gentlemen, I've got nothing more to say, I don't think.
Maybe they could move the New York Beautiful site across the street from the 11th Street site because Nick owns that. And wouldn't that be nice to pull into the brand new station and across the street to see this You Are Beautiful sign that we paid for and everyone gets to see it? Or we're just going to put it across the street from the skate park, which is not really a very...
We're going to move out to the west side and do you realize the west side of Michigan City does not have an established TIF district? They're the second or third largest land mass ward in the city of Michigan City, and they do not have an established TIF district in that area of ground. TIF district in the sixth ward is the biggest, and then the center of Michigan City. And then there's a north side TIF district and a east side TIF district and a south side TIF district, but there is no west side TIF district. And that's been in existence for the last 40 years. Is that progress in Michigan City? Gentlemen, I rest my case.
I'm just going to start out by saying tomorrow is the first day of summer, June 21st. We are in the summer solstice. And I dug some of my old 15 and 20 year shirts out of the closet, my summer shirts. So I'm wearing one of them today. Now, my wife and I have a totally different situation when it comes to clothes and shopping and this type of thing. I hate to shop. So as a result of that, I shove everything in my closet. Now, my wife will give to her granddaughters, every organization that wants clothes, she takes it down when she buys new. I just shove the old ones in the closet, and I know when I come back 15 or 20 years later, they'll be in style. So as a result of that, I've got a couple of shirts on. I'm going to talk again about the situation that I think the Economic Development Commission, the Redevelopment Commission, and the school system has to get involved with. They have to find these kids that are not producing at the grade level that they're attending. And they have to get them into a required mandatory school system. And we've got to start this because we have so many individuals who are below the poverty level or right at the poverty level. And the way we can break that cycle is to be able to get educated and be able to perform the functions that you need when you finally get a job. So I'm hoping that somehow the school board and the Economic Development Commission will start to get this message and we'll start to do something about it. But we've got to have a mandatory school system. So as a result of that, now is about the last time they've got the opportunity to do something this year.
May I interject on that point?
Well, sure, go right ahead. I'm used to you interjecting, but go ahead.
The city, the last city Board of Works meeting that I watched, they talked about the police chief buying 8 new police cars, and that money was out of his budget. 8 new police cars for the city of Michigan City. But if you see the other functions that are going on in the city of Michigan City, the Michigan City Economic Development Corporation appropriated money to fund the 8 new police cars. That money did not come out of the police department's budget. It came out of the Economic Development Corporation organization.
Well, they've got quite a bit of money, so
I'm just saying, don't you think we should be transparent? And basically when we communicate, when a function within this city communicates to the public, don't you think they should tell the truth?
Well, they probably did, and there was probably a hearing on it. And if this was the old News Dispatch, they would have had at least 1 reporter down there, maybe 2. Unfortunately, it is not. It is the Herald Dispatch. And they often go just off of police reports or written up reports, because they don't send reporters down to attend these meetings, so consequently, again, people don't get notified.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the police chief stood up at the podium and he specifically acknowledged the fact that this money is coming out of his budget. And the police chief said he's buying these 8 new police cars with the funds out of his budget. But in reality, the funds came from the Redevelopment Commission. It was just a transfer of
Probably
funds.
transferred it.
Why can't we be honest with the public? That's all I'm saying.
I knew about that previously, but to me, I thought it was a good usage of our money.
I don't disagree. I'm just looking for transparency, that's all.
Okay. Tony. what's
Say
happening
something, Tony,
in the world
crying out
of
loud.
engineering?
Well, there's lots going on. So on my research,
Uh-oh.
when you travel the byways of the great United States, lots of people are talking about a new truck stop, right, called Buc-ee's.
But
Oh, I like
You
Buc-ee's.
go to these Buc-ee's.
Low cost gas.
They are like the Walmart of truck stops. But if you look very closely at these Buc-ee's and you get to travel in the interstates,
would you spell that, please?
Bucceene. Buc-ee's.
Bucceene.
Buc-ee's. And it's all the rage. It's the social thing. It's pretty cool. They have like 50 gas ones. But anyways, what Buc-ee's is doing, since they started in Texas and they're migrating their way east, west, north, south, it appears to me, they are going to interchanges that are very low volume of cars. They are creating their own interchange turnoff at interchanges that are new or interchanges that are very underutilized on the interstates. And I thought, well, if our redevelopment commission or somebody in our planning of the city could foresee this, they would go to Buc-ee's and they'd say, and they are busy. And then believe me, they are busy. They'd go to Buc-ee's and say, we have just a spot for you. We have, and most people don't know, we have a pre-designed interchange at County Line Road and 94 that has never been
It's
developed.
been there for LaRocco's time.
It's designed. The interchange on-off, the designs are already done. They've been done for 40 years. Buc-ee's is just the kind of person that would like to have their own interchange off of 94.
All 4
at County Line.
corners?
Well, they would pick one corner, but they've been hitting on locations that are not previously have truck stops. So they are their own spot. When you get off at one of these interchanges, usually have a Truckers of America, a Love's, we have a Love's, and lots of other different ones. Buc-ee's is looking for their own unique location, their own unique spots, in my estimation with what I've seen. So if Michigan City would work with the Indiana Department of Transportation, the Federal Highway, and open up the County Line Road interchange, build that, and I would probably, you'd most likely get somebody like Buc-ee's to move in and open that interchange and create another access to Michigan City down County Line Road to the west side, where is going to be the greatest growth in Michigan City the next 50 years.
And what Tony is talking about, this proposed intersection, when I was on the city council, it was a topic of great discussion. I think LaRocco had some involvement in that laying the groundwork, or that specific location down in County Line Road. In some of my speeches in the early 80s, we talked about the new west side exchange off of County Line Road. We talked about stuff like that. But that was 40 years ago, people. And Michigan City is still, at this particular time, living in the past. You know, they haven't caught up with reality.
Well, that particular interchange was designed because when Joe LaRocco donated Mount Baldy to the federal government, which if he'd held off until we got the road built, but he didn't, he donated it to the federal government, and they were supposed to build the highway from I-94 to the Lakeshore National Park. Well, they already got Mount Baldy. Why are they going to pay for that? So, you know, one more screw up for the Democrats. I've got 2 of them.
Oh, Bob, you really want to go there. So my other topic is...
I'm sure he just came up with another.
My other topic is, it saddens me to see the Republican Party in the state it's in, because they are now the party, and Bob can't deny this, of fees, of extra money, this is going to be a budget year that you have never seen across Indiana. And the Republicans' answer to that, and you're going to see this, we are all going to feel this, and the Republican
One more
Party
Democrat projecting doom and gloom.
they
but
bear
go right ahead.
all of this. This is Republican control. You are going to see a wheel tax. You are going to see another income tax. You are going to see a stormwater fee. You are going to see every fee laid on you this year, all from the Republican Party. So I don't know how this happened. I don't know where the Republican Party has forgotten that they are the party of less government and saving people money. And now you're going to see this budget year and this is not something they cannot have. Every municipality is going to have, they are required to have a wheel tax. They are required to institute another income tax. The Republican Party is bringing forward fee structures for everything we do. The Republican Party is looking at tolling all of our interstates, which will put people on our state roads. And we all know in northern Indiana what happens. We've seen that with the toll road in 20. People are going to die like we have never seen on our local roads because the Republican Party has thought the best way is to tax and fee people into oblivion. And this is not the Republican Party I have ever known.
From what I understand, a number of these fees are going to go to reduce property taxes, which we have to do. We are trying to get people.
We need to get rid of property tax, period.
Well,
We're slaves to the
but we got to
government.
start by reducing it. We are trying to get people into houses. Part of the cost of a house is the property tax. You not only have to be able to make the bank payment, your mortgage payment, you also have to be able to pay the property taxes, and you also have to be able to pay for the insurance on the house. Now, because of all the situations we've had with other states that have had these calamities, with tornadoes and hurricanes and wildfires and so on and so forth, the national insurance companies have significantly had to raise their rates in order to take care of it. So as a result of that, if you buy a house, you also have to figure in the cost of that insurance. You also have to figure in the cost of the property tax. Anything we can do to get those costs down and to help people who would like to buy a house, I think is a positive. Now, a lot of these fees and taxes are going to be paid by people not from the state of Indiana and certainly not from Michigan City. But if they can help pay some of our taxes, I'm all for it. And Dave and I had a big discussion here about 2 nights ago about the situation in the park and the park stickers. Well, it was me, a Republican, and Ken Hankey, a Republican, that put that situation in. We put it in the ordinance form because the park department was screaming, we don't have enough money. Well, there's reasons why they didn't have enough money, because they kicked out a very viable Washington Park amusement company because the Democrats thought they were going to take it over. That turned into a horrible situation, and Tony remembers it.
Oh, yeah, that was a stupid move.
And anyway, we decided we had to do something to raise money. Well, here's how we did it. We said that if you live in Michigan City and pay property taxes, you will get a sticker. You do not have to pay to park in Washington Park. But in addition to that, we also said that if you are a property tax payer in Michigan City, you will not have to pay to get a park sticker. Or if you are a renter, but you pay a utility bill in Michigan City, you will not have to get a park sticker. We got everybody coming over here from Timbuktu, up from Lafayette, over from Fort Wayne, here from Chicago, paying for our parking in our park. If you live in Michigan City, or it's an and/or, pay property taxes in Michigan City, you can get a park sticker and you won't have to pay. This is what I think the Republican Party is counting on when they put these fees in.
Well, the Republican Party is the party of less government and smaller government. And that's not what they're doing. They are adding other fees to keep government like it is. If you're going to reduce government, if you're the Republican Party, reduce government. Don't kowtow to another fee, another tax, another something on the people because they need money. Reduce the government.
That's exactly how this got started, because the park department was all upset about they had to lay off 2 people.
To lay them off.
You guys do, on a weekly basis, you do stuff to antagonize me, and you're making my ears burn red.
Well,
I want to comment about what you just said.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Now, in terms of the fees that the park department now gets from parking, this has been one magnificent, one really outstanding situation they have had to raise money, because the situation changed drastically. It was the Washington Park Amusement Company that paid a lot in terms of the money that the park department needed for the zoo, which was free, by the way, and for other things that the park department did. We also lost a number of manufacturing companies. We used to have major industrial leagues in softball. That went away because the companies left. Pullman would sponsor one. Smith Brothers Cough Drops would sponsor one. Joy Manufacturing would sponsor one.
Grotti's sponsored one too.
Grotti's, okay. And Grotti's isn't here anymore either, but the tavern's still there. Those all went away, and the park department wasn't getting any fees out of that either. I think it was a brilliant stroke when we did that, because we have to keep that park department up. We have to pay for their repairs down there, and we also have to pay the property taxes to help out the park department. The people that come here and enjoy it, and they come because it's very reasonable in relation to what they have to pay in their location. So I think it's been good for them. I think it's been good for us. And by the way, when we put that in, if you could get 500 people to go to the park, because the Democrat Party had a riot down there.
There was a riot.
There was a riot, and people wouldn't even go there. We started working on getting them back into that park. And I remember the first night, we brought the Marine Corps band in. And for the first time in about 3 years, we had 1,000 people in the park that night just to see the Marine Corps band. It played up on the old band shell, and it was a fantastic situation. Now, if the Democrats hadn't put in the grass down Franklin Street and a number of other things, go ahead, tell me about how we screwed up.
I agree with the Washington Park free stickers, but why are we keeping it affordable for out-of-towners? So what if it's $50? So what if it's $100 for a season pass?
Well, we want
Who
them to
cares?
come. We want them to come.
Charge
And we
them.
also want them to spend money. And it is at a value where they can come, enjoy themselves, and still go downtown. And we have nice restaurants. Remember how they had to close all the restaurants downtown? The only one that survived was Maxine and Heine's. But there was a bunch of them that had to close because they couldn't do any business. We've got restaurants that are doing very well downtown. Some of them serve some kind of food that I probably don't eat, but I did try one. I had a tuna ahi, and it was pretty good, but I put a lot of lemon on it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Boy, I tell you, you guys throw a bucket of water over my comments. I give you an example. We've got a few vehicles, and my wife just purchased a new vehicle towards the end of the year. So we got our paperwork back from the State Department of Motor Vehicles that did not include a barcode on it. So she bought her car last year. She paid the taxes, the remainder of last year plus taxes for this year. But the paperwork that was sent back to us did not provide a barcode, which then made me go down 3 times to get this thing rectified, and it's still not rectified because since the paperwork that we got from the State Department of Motor Vehicles did not include taxes paid for this year, but it did not include a barcode, I was unable to get my wife.
I told you, take your property taxes down. It's going to have your
I
wife.
took it down. I took my property taxes down this morning, and they did not recognize my property tax. They did not recognize. I've got a portfolio. I'll show you. It's in my van.
Well, double check that, because when that ordinance went into effect, they were supposed to recognize property tax payments.
I was told by the park department director that if you do not have your registration,
Well, you got to have your car registration.
it was registered on that paperwork that they sent us because of when she purchased the property. It was late in the year. She paid last year's taxes and this year's taxes.
Right, we knew that.
So they would not recognize that because it didn't have a barcode on it. So the first time they rejected me, the second time I went to Motor Vehicles told me, yeah, we can get you a barcode. It's going to cost you $9. And it's going to take 3 weeks for that paperwork to come down.
This is one you go to the city council with. I think they'll get it straightened out.
Well, but the fact of the matter is,
you gotta go to city
the fact
council now.
the fact that now they're going to 4 entities to get a free parking sticker. I could have when I was at Motor Vehicle, I could have said, yeah, well, make me a duplicate, but they wanted $9 for that, and I said that doesn't make sense for me to pay $9 to get a free parking sticker in the park.
Could you have asked them to show you the one with the barcode, and you could have taken a picture of it?
The registration. The date on the registration that I brought in.
Dave would have his brought.
Anyways,
It was.
do you have a park sticker or not?
I have. According to there is no park sticker on my wife's vehicle.
I thought you could bring in a copy of your water bill or your sewer bill.
We pay everything electronically. We do not have copies because the wife does. The banks pay everything. It's all done electronically.
Well, mine paid electronically. I get a bill every month.
But my wife throws them out.
Well, that's bad. Oh, gosh, okay.
I'm just so the bottom line.
Tony, you got to handle this one.
No,
He just blew me away.
The bottom line is that there was a park department meeting, and the superintendent of the park department said our revenue isn't up to snuff where it's supposed to be. The issue that I just brought up, only for one vehicle, is maybe a contributing factor to the fact that if that vehicle isn't able to go into the park to maybe spend money at different functions, that's how the park department is losing a little bit of revenue. Maybe not.
Well, it's the weather, actually, because people aren't going because they're not driving in the kind of weather we've had.
I want to go back to Bob because he's right, and it was the Democrats who did a couple things. They get rid of the amusement park, and then we sick the dogs at the tower people who ran the events, and somehow we got rid of them too.
Yeah, JC's.
So if you go to the park and you get in, whatever you pay or you don't pay to get in the park, we have the Patrick's people there that sell you food, but there's really not something that Michigan City has never done since the amusement park was here. We have not installed potentially a 20-foot boardwalk that goes all the way out to Stop 2 and starts selling whatever, ice cream, pizza, beer, whatever you want on it, and capture money that's down there. We let people come in. You have one place to go to buy some food, which you got to walk all the way to the beach to get to, instead of going to the people who would spend money ad nauseum on the beach. If you go out to New Jersey on the New Jersey coast, everyone that goes there, they rent homes, they have lots of Airbnb, which is another topic, and you get to go on the Jersey Shore. You cannot go on the Jersey Shore and just walk on the beach. You have to have a paid ticket to get onto the beach. But along the New Jersey Shore are boardwalks and sales and people that sell you everything from ice cream to beer to pizza to popcorn, all the way along there, and they capture a whole bunch of revenue. But somehow in Northwest Indiana and Michigan City, we don't even attempt to. All you have to do is put a 20-foot wide boardwalk down the beach, because it's hot sand anyways, and people with access and can't, wheelchairs
down to your condo, Bob.
Down to the condo, and let vendors sell up and down the boardwalk, and you would capture, I would bet you'd capture 500 times the amount you would ever expect to capture. And then at the end of the year, you pick up the boardwalk, you stack them up so the sand doesn't blow on them. But during the year, we capture money other than a very small amount in fees for parking. I don't understand why we can't figure that out when the East Coast and the West Coast and the Gulf of America all figure this out. They capture money when people are on the beach. People, yes, they will go to the restaurants in Franklin Street, but no, they're probably going to go to the restaurants further south of 20 when they come or they leave, or they're just going to leave. But if they're on the beach and they're hot and tired and hungry and they can just walk a few steps to the boardwalk and get some food and beverages and vendors and something to drink, we capture so much money. But I don't know, what's it been? 50, 75 years we can't figure this out since the amusement park left. That was the draw for the amusement park, to come down there, go to the beach, go to the amusement park.
Just imagine how much money the park department is losing by allowing the fishermen to park their trailers on a Washington Park parking lot.
And you take up parking spots for
They
somebody.
take up 2, maybe 3.
For nothing.
their trailer.
I assume that that's probably a contract between,
Well, break the contract so that you can make for yourself some money.
the marina brings in a lot of money for us.
And the marina retains the money in their own pockets. They don't share their proceeds with the park
Well,
The
department.
Here's
marina
one.
and the other Trail Creek Marina, how do they capture money? Oh, boat launches and some docking fees. That's it. There's really no place to buy anything there, or food, or ice, or water. They're just, I don't know why
Well,
we're
I'll give
not
you- I'll give-
embracing capitalism.
I'll give you one more. All of these fishermen that come in here, it would be great because the people that run the charter boats will clean their fish for them and fillet them. All they have to do is have a restaurant that will cook it for them. If we set that up so that they could go to various restaurants, in the restaurant when they come in, they would know ahead of time who they were. They could cook their salmon or their trout, have it ready for them, and they could eat right there. But we have never done that.
So
Tell me why.
I want to sidestep to another. There was a public meeting about Airbnbs because we have a problem, right?
Yeah.
With Airbnbs.
Well, they're
And-
not here 30 days.
I know, it went round and round and round, and the people had some good ideas at this public input, but it seemed to me like just a meeting that ended in going nowhere. Because there are certain people, not just Airbnb, people that rent short-term rentals that have problems.
Oh, yeah.
And they bring people in here that don't care, have no respect, are loud and obnoxious, and think they can do whatever they want in Michigan City while they're here, and they don't care about anyone else here, let alone another short-term rental or someone that lives there. Well, why? And we just bought some police cars, and they're wondering what to do. Well, why don't we just stick a huge charge on short-term rentals and put the money, because you need 3 people. You need another policeman, you need a code enforcement, and you need an administrator, just for short-term rentals. Send them to these Airbnbs. If they get a call, that police officer goes, just like the resource officer at school, we have somebody there all the time. That's all that officer does, because the code enforcement people, I'm not going to be there Friday at 1 in the morning or Saturday at 2 or Sunday at 2 in the morning. Your police officer is going to show up, and the police have enough to do on their own. If we take the fees that we put on short-term rentals and put those to a dedicated police officer, a dedicated code enforcement, and a dedicated administrator, so we can track which one of these short-term renters are not doing their job and putting nefarious characters who's causing the trouble. Let's attack the solution, solve the problem, and get somebody. So anyone that comes in here knows, any person that rents a short-term rental knows, these 3 people are going to be on you. And if you rent to people that are causing trouble, they're going to show up at your short-term rental. They're going to call you that you have a problem at your place, and you had better fix it, or we are going to fine you up and above. Now, putting a fee on top of their short-term rental, they're not going to care to pay it. They pay thousands of dollars a day. So what, $100, $500? They're not even going to blink.
There's already, wait, there's already legislation. See, this is the problem in our society. There's legislation on the books that can resolve this dilemma.
Yes.
Okay.
Enforce it, but we can't enforce it.
But yes, we can. It was enforced on a corner of Buffalo and Russell Street, right across the street from where I live. It was enforced by the health department. There was a Chinese restaurant on Highway 20, and all of the people who worked at the Chinese restaurant would live in this particular
All
house.
25 of them. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
tiny little 2-5-room room.
A 2-story. I don't want to mention names, but good friends of mine. The health department came down with an edict that specifically said that as far as occupancy, there's occupancy laws in a city council. The health department came down and said, too many people reside in that particular property based on how many bathrooms they got, how many facilities. Anyway, the health department closed them down.
After it was too late.
Well, I'm just saying that if legislation that is on the books with the park department and with the city of Michigan City was implemented, specifically saying that occupancy of a specific house of a specific size, only so many people can reside in that facility based on established law that's grandfathered in. If they only enforce legislation that's on the books, this wouldn't be a problem.
I agree 100%. Do we have the rules to enforce?
We do.
We just don't have the people to enforce them.
Well, you're saying
And
in one way,
let's get them some money to hire a dedicated police officer, a dedicated code enforcement, and a dedicated administrator. That's all they
Enforce
do. And they're
the rules that are-
responsible for enforcing these
Well-
people and the problems they bring.
Well,
Because there's
first-
good people
first
too.
of all-
too many of these politicians write legislation
So we're
and
going to write more legislation.
write more legislation
that we
and
can't
never
enforce.
follow through. It's
Well,
not
they
enforced.
solved this problem, but not with the code enforcement. They had a big fire there. That solved that problem. They burned the damn
Yeah, it was
house
too late.
down.
It was too
Well,
late.
the
People
reason, yeah,
died.
you're right. You're right. Yeah, there
People
was-
died. It was too
people
late.
died. It was too late. If the laws that are on the books were implemented, that building that is now a vacant lot,
Well,
okay,
then I wanted
would still
to
be
add-
standing.
I wanted to add one thing to what Tony said, because I certainly agree with him. But it's just not Airbnbs.
No, it's any short-term rental.
Why
Yeah.
is it Tony saying stuff and I'm saying you don't agree with? What the hell? What's going on here? You just said you agree with Tony.
that together.
You're working against me.
No, we flip a coin before we come in to decide who's going to be the harasser.
Anyway, go ahead.
You've been harassing me for 14,
I
15
keep
years.
losing the coin flip. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if we have, and that's what the city was telling at this public workshop. You could hear the city employees saying, "We don't have the people. Code enforcement's not going to show up at 2 in the morning on Saturday morning or 3 in the morning on Sunday morning. It's going to be the police officer, and the police are busy enough around other things to go to some unruly characters out at a short-term rental. But if we had a police officer and every short-term rental person knew that if their police officer showed up, that they pay money to register and pay money when each rental happens into this fund to pay for these people, and B, if this person shows up, code enforcement, the police officer shows up, you're going to pay whatever, $1,000, $2,000 fine. You're going to make sure that you do your due diligence about people you're renting to in short term to make sure you're not going to get a huge fine set on you because they're disturbing the whole neighborhood.
Doesn't it make more sense just enforce
Well, you use
the
the
occupancy
law, but
law?
we have to have people to enforce the rules. We don't have the people. They have plenty of other things to do.
If you have an ordinance in the city
We
of
have
Michigan
one.
City, include that the residents who lease these properties must comply with the city residency code, and they cite the code, and if you don't, how can you?
But we
can't
don't have enforcement. We don't have people
you
to
can't
enforce.
If you can't, you're not able to rent your facility through Airbnb if you don't comply with our rules
We
and
don't
regulations.
have people to enforce it. We need a dedicated, just like we send a school resource officer.
But the enforcement.
And we don't need to pay for it. The short-term rental people need to pay for that dedicated person to make sure, because they obviously can't police their own people.
We have language on the short-term residency.
We're not disagreeing. We just don't have the enforcement.
Well,
And these people are.
if they do not comply, then they're off. They're kicked off of the list. Period.
You can't do that. We can't tell Airbnb who they can or cannot rent.
Or the
Well, then they have to comply with these rules and regulations in order to get the
We
license.
can't do that.
You keep talking about Airbnb, and yes,
Or
that's
whoever.
part of it, but there's also real estate agents out there.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
running this. Yeah.
Airbnb. There's like 4 or 5 big ones, and there's people that do it privately.
Well, I'll tell you one.
We need to get a handle on this, and I feel for the people in these neighborhoods who have these unruly customers and the people that are renting to them on these short-term rentals. Let's put a fee on their rentals, and the person rented doesn't care. The person paying is probably going to pay anyways, or out of town or whatever. $100, $500, whatever it is. Pay the officer, pay the administrator to track who the bad people are, because there's a lot of good people that do short-term rentals, and they have Beach Walk is a very good area that has control through their homeowners association that takes care of the unruly people, and it's very strict. Outside of that, Michigan City has to do that. So instead of sitting here asking for another law or another ordinance, we have the ordinances in effect. Enforce them. If you have to have money to hire a police officer, buy him a vehicle, have code enforcement out there from 8 to 4, and an administrator to contact these people, go to their house, wherever they are, and says, listen, your people caused trouble on Friday night. We sent an officer over there. This is what happened. Here's your fine, $1,000. If you don't pay it, we are going to shut down your.
In order to obtain a rental facility in Michigan City, rules have to be in place. Guidelines have to be in place.
They are in place.
The part of the guidelines is if you subscribe to your property as a rental property, this is how much you pay for administrative costs.
Yes.
Just in case some violation happens. They don't pay nothing. Airbnb, my understanding of Airbnb, because my daughter is involved with it, basically what they do is they're the agent to your property and they send you money for renting your property. There's no...
If Michigan City put a cost on each renter, not on the building, Airbnb would have to collect that money.
They'd have to comply.
And they would know that the other end of that collection is there is a separate police officer, a separate code enforcement, and a separate administrator to track this, and that's all they do.
And that'd be the funding mechanism for that.
They
I agree
fund
with
that,
what Tony is saying.
and then they would know if something happens, they're going to get hit with another, and the renter or the person who owns the short-term rental will get hit with another fine, and they will have to pay it. And us regular people don't have to bear the burden of another police officer, another code enforcement, and another administrator just to take care of some problem people, because there's lots of good people, but the problem people are causing an immense amount of problems and costs and consternation and trouble. And people need to understand that's not acceptable.
I watched these meetings that the city council had in regards to...
and they just want to do more ordinances.
Yeah. Enforce what you got on the books in conjunction with the Michigan City, or with the LaPorte County Health Department. And that is the mechanism that you need to protect this Airbnb, the validity and short-term rentals. If the laws are on the books,
I would
implement them.
I hope a council member who has to write these ordinances would say, okay, here's the ordinances we have. We're going to add a registration fee for each renter, and we're going to add a fine. And that's all we're going to add. We're not putting more laws on the books that we can't enforce.
Now, let me tell you the other side of that story. It goes like this. My oldest grandson, we happen to be riding around. He's kind of looking for a house that he and his brother can buy. They both are back in Michigan City. They each have 2 jobs, so they've got a significant amount of money to be able to do something. So we drive by one of these small houses, had the real estate agent, or the company the real estate agent works for rent type sign. So he calls him up, and he knew one of their agents. They graduated together in high school. He calls him up. What would it take to buy that house? Thinking he and his brother could go together and do that. And the agent said, it's not for sale. We only rent by the night. $436 a night.
Yep.
Now, don't jump yet. Think back 45, 50 years ago. Sheridan Beach was a slum area. Now they're getting $430 a night for a house. We have come a long way. Sheridan Beach has been one of the leaders in that, because of their closeness to the water and a number of other factors that have really contributed to that. Now, I don't like what you're talking about. I have big problems with it. But I'd rather face those problems than the slum situation we had in Sheridan Beach and a number of other areas that we no longer have. So, making the point that it's a lot better than it was.
It's my understanding when you rent through Airbnb, part of the criteria is that you're renting for X amount of people to occupy this specific facility.
Yeah.
If you exceed that X amount of people, you're in violation with the contract that you established with Airbnb.
And so what? So what? Who's going to enforce
Airbnb is
it?
going to pay it. $439 a night, they're going to pay it.
So what? The people are in violation of a lot of things. So you're in violation of speeding down Franklin Street until you get pulled over and get a ticket.
So
what?
So then let's just drop the issue of Airbnb altogether, and let's just whatever SHIT.
We need an enforcement mechanism. $400 a night. I don't think anyone's going to blink about another $20 or $40 of fee on top of that.
And there are laws on the books. There are laws on the books to support it.
We have, because Sheridan Beach is a beautiful, very nice area. Sorry, a few bad apples are having problems down there.
They're screwing up for all the rest of the good people.
So
Right.
we need to make sure that these people understand, not just the renter, the people that own it rented, the people they rent to. We are not going to accept this in any form. You will pay a fee in the front end, and then we'll send somebody out. We're not going to try to pull a policeman off his beat somewhere at 2 in the morning where he's got far more things going on than some unruly drunk causing a lot of noise, loud stereo, or whatever they're doing down there. We're going to have an officer out there waiting. Then everyone knows that there's going to be an officer within 2 blocks, and they're going to show up in a matter of seconds. And it's not going to pull anyone off of something that's more urgent or life-threatening in Michigan City. They know, these kids or these young adults know there will be an officer, just like there's in Beach Walk, there will be somebody show up, security, in seconds, and you will be fine. And they will think twice about doing that, and they will stop upsetting the neighborhood and what everyone loves about Sheridan Beach. So that was my point. We're going to have these workshops, and what are we going to do? Introduce more ordinances and legislation that we can't even effectively enforce anyways.
Well, we're going to have to figure out how we work with this, because this is going to happen more and more often.
Oh, yes.
That area is going to grow fantastically. Sooner or later, Weil McLean, or the people that actually inherited Weil McLean from their great-great-great-great-grandparents, if they can ever get all the heirs together, is going to decide that, you know, this is more valuable just as land than it is with the manufacturing facility that we have there. We're going to have the same situation with Bloxham. It's only a matter until they get all their heirs together, and Bloxham decides to go also. We tried to get them to go to an industrial park, Bloxham, and they wouldn't do it. They're just waiting because of the value of that property. So as a result of that, what we're going to have to figure out is how do we replace those manufacturing jobs? Because while it's nice what's going to go in there, and we're going to get a lot of property taxes on it, we're going to actually hurt a lot of the people that work there. These are people that are in what I would call the lower middle class, because they've got a manufacturing job, they've probably got some insurance, they've got a retirement program. Those will be gone. I want to go back to the fact that we are going to have to replace those jobs, and we're going to have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I just think that the whole short-term rental has to get fixed and enforced now, because like you said, even homes in the heavy blue-collar district of Michigan City are getting bought up and being rented out. No one wants to have the trouble Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, when they probably got to go to work, and they got this trouble going on in their neighborhood that's just a regular old family class neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is the test case at Sheridan Beach, where we have a dedicated crew that takes care of what the problems are, and where Michigan City should not have to pay for a few people causing trouble. And we definitely should not be enforcing more laws, more ordinances for something we can't even enforce anyways. I just watched the workshop, and bless the people that were there, but it seems like you're just spinning your wheels.
Blowing hot air.
More
rules.
rules.
Rules that are on the books should be enforced and made more stringent. There are rules, as I said, with the health department and with short-term rentals. Make the short-term rentals make the rules more stringent. If you work with Airbnb, on the other side of the coin, an individual who doesn't lease his property with Airbnb, what rules do they have to comply with? Nothing. They can do whatever they want.
No, they have to comply with the same laws.
But again, you're being you can't show partiality by singling out Airbnb people and let other
you
people
can't.
skate.
No, I agree.
You have to be concise across the board.
Yeah.
Well, we have to enforce them. We're
and,
not.
and enforce the legislation that's on the books. But too often, that issue goes by the wayside. We elect representatives to go down to Indianapolis and write laws, and they write laws, and then when they get picked up for speeding, oh, you can't arrest me because I got confidentiality agreement with the state of Indiana. You can't arrest me until the House and the Senate is not in power. I'm just saying, if you adopt the laws, you live by them.
Yeah, and so back where I started, that we're going to get hit the next couple months. Fees and taxes like you have never seen. And now I'm asking for another fee on out-of-towners. Again, Doesn't bother me one bit if we're short-term rental people are getting fees. It doesn't bother me one bit if we charge $100 for a Washington Park sticker. It doesn't bother me one bit as long as the out-of-towners are paying. But when it hits us with an income tax or a wheel tax, it's wrong. We should be reducing government instead of adding taxes onto the people.
Well, first of all, it still does hit us because the park department gets part of our property taxes. So the Michigan City people, those that pay property taxes, are already paying their share to start with.
Yeah, you're already paying for your sticker.
Yeah, they've already paid for their sticker. So you've got to take that into the calculus. That's why I'm interested in seeing these property taxes come down. And if we can give these fees to other people using our facilities, I think we've got to do that.
Yeah, I think we should have no property taxes. I mean, property taxes means we never own our property. And that's a sad state in America. You never really own your property. I don't know how we got here, but if people live in their homes and they take care of them and we still get hit with property taxes, now I do not think we should be, if we want to reduce the government. Don't shift the tax somewhere else. A wheel tax, an income tax. Don't shift it somewhere. Just cut the government. I mean, there's many governments I work in, many municipalities, where I don't know how to be nice about it, but the service is horrible. It's almost unbelievable. You don't get any service. You don't get calls back. And then when you do get a return call on some permit or something you work on, they're beating it literally to death. They're just destroying what you can get done. So there's my rant. We only got 2 minutes.
We're getting down the last 2 minutes. I want to get back to this United Way concept that we were talking about in Porter County. Okay, the Northwest Indiana, the organization in Northwest Indiana that encompasses this MAAC Foundation includes Lake, Porter, Jasper, Newton, Stark counties, but does not include LaPorte County. LaPorte County is its own agency under United Way. Don't you think that a cooperative venture of maybe 4 county, add LaPorte County into these Lake, Porter, Jasper, Newton, Stark, could
They'd have to join. I mean, that's up to LaPorte County.
What is preventing the LaPorte County United Way from joining this worthwhile organization? That is the concept that exists here in LaPorte County, here in Michigan City, here in Trail Creek, here in Long Beach. Here, everybody is floating their own boat rather than combining their efforts to make stuff better.
Lead us out.
Huh?
You've only got 1 minute. There you go.
Oh my God, my goodness. Thank you for listening to me blabber. I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements or criticism of the program is greatly appreciated. Please contact Show's co-producers Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailhem@yahoo.com, or you may direct any ideas for our one and only pain in the neck staff writer, Sarah Bellum. Showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m., Monday, Thursday evening at 7 p.m. on Channel 99, and numerous times throughout the week when Andy finds some dead air to put in some miscellaneous comments. You may also enjoy watching our show on our YouTube page, Navigate News and Views. I want to thank everybody for watching, and make it a good day.
Enjoy the summer in Michigan City. They are fabulous. Go ahead.